Hi guys, welcome back to It's UK here. It's just gone midnight now into the 5th of August. It's a blisteringly hot evening and I am melting. Just got back from the game session and I thought before I go to bed, let's do tomorrow's Play the 5th video. So it was space. And I did spend the better part of Saturday trying to fathom out what I was going to do with space. So I didn't want to do Star Trek or space in an RPG setting or stuff like that. And part of the thing for the RPGADay is that if you can't think of something, flip it. So space went to confined space. And that's when it sort of hit me to combine those two things. And how do you combine that in an RPG? Well, I was thinking about the two types of campaigns style, I suppose, that you can run. And that is sandbox and the so-called adventure path, aka railroad. Both of these campaign styles have their own ups and downs, have their own positives and negatives. With a sandbox one, this is actually my least favourite. I don't particularly enjoy doing them as a GM, and I really don't like them as a player. But with a sandbox setting, you kind of, if we take something like D&D, you have a town or a city, and basically the GM populates it with some key NPCs, some plot ideas, some dungeons, ruins, whatever. Maybe has an overarching plot they're trying to do, but ultimately they leave it in the hands of the players. So the players get a fair bit of agency to do what they want. You know, if they don't want to go and investigate the old dwarf mine, they can stay at home and maybe do some small quests around the town to get enough gold to buy that tavern they want. Maybe they decide that they've heard the stories of old man Hrothgar's mine. Only, and they go out there only to find that Hrothgar's mine is actually populated by monsters way higher than they are, because it reflects a more living world as opposed to how a normal sort of adventure path campaign works. A lot of people really like this. It's a for them it's a good way. They don't feel that they're being constrained by the GM or the GM's plots, and they can do what they want their characters to do. On the downside, this is why I don't particularly like it. I find it quite dull. I've played many a game, various RPGs, where the GM has kind of gone, right, this is where you are now. This is the town. You know, you might have a quest to find somebody, and then you're left to it, and you've got to find them. And quite frankly, I find it quite tedious. I've played campaigns like that where we've arrived on a space station or in a city, and we've spent 4 or 5 sessions wandering around trying to find an NPC or trying to find a location or trying to, So for me, they don't really work. I like getting on with the story and just doing it. But a lot of people do enjoy a more sandbox approach, which is good. The opposite, the adventure path / railroad, is my preferred method. Instead of having, well, you can combine them, to be fair, they're not overly different. But you kind of have an overarching plot, and you start at point A, and you do that particular quest, and then something points you to point B, and you do that, and then you go to point C, and so on until you complete the story, the narrative. A lot of people don't like this because they feel that the players have no agency. They can just they're along for the ride. But that's what I like about it. I can create a character. I know roughly what the story is going to be, because obviously you get some idea at the start of the campaign, and you get to see that character grow and play and tell that story, and you know that each session is going to be interesting and each session is going to basically carry on. And you know that you can't deviate too far and get lost. as I say, some people don't like it because they feel that they're constrained to that particular point, and others, like myself, really enjoy it. So that's my thoughts on how to sort of like do space and compressed space in RPGs. So what do you like? What is your preferred campaign style? Do you prefer the sandbox, or do you prefer the railroaded or adventure path type style? I look forward to hearing your points of view, and until then, have a good evening and good gaming.